Good evening and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. I hope everyone is doing well on this Thursday evening. We're back with another massive show to bring you guys tonight. But before we jump into that, please smash a like on the video. Let's try and see 200 likes on this evening's video. And if this is your first time watching, please consider subscribing as well. We're live every day at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. UK time. So get involved. Why not? On the show this evening, we are going to be talking and reacting to a story that apparently Manchester United will have to pay Newcastle a fee of around £10 million in order to get Dan Ashworth as our new director of football. We'll also be talking about a story that broke earlier on today that apparently INEOS are keen on are keen on Zerbi as the next Manchester United manager. We've also got some news on some other people who are joining the backroom team. A new head of, I think it's a head of youth academy. He was at Man City previously. Who's going to be joining as well. Honestly, there is so much going on today with Manchester United. There's so much to get into. And as always, guys, let me know what you're feeling. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are you excited about Dan Ashworth? We've actually got some news about the stadium as well, actually. I forgot about that. But for anybody who's just literally joined and is watching live, you can get involved in a poll. And the question is this. Who would you prefer as the Manchester United manager? Erik ten Hag or De Zerbi? We'll start the show off with that part of it then, because obviously that's that's what the question is for you guys. So for everybody wondering where this story's come from, there was a couple of different journalists who have broken this story earlier on today. One of them says Roberto De Zerbi is highly admired by INEOS, who have the full sporting control at Manchester United. So obviously Dan Ashworth came from Brighton. Dan Ashworth was part of appointing De Zerbi at Brighton. We're also going after the head of recruitment from Brighton. I mean, there's a link forming here, isn't there? Manchester United seem to be trying to replicate what has happened at Brighton. But on the flip side of this, there is other journalists in the UK today saying that apparently De Zerbi is a strong contender for the job at Liverpool. So he's a man who's clearly going to be in demand. Do I want De Zerbi at Man United? I'll be honest with you guys, I don't. You know how much I like Erik ten Hag. I think Erik ten Hag is the right man for the job. I know this season's not been very good, but when you think last season he got us third, he got us to the FA Cup final and he won us a trophy in his first season. He got us our first trophy in 6 years. Like, Erik ten Hag's not going to lose my respect and backing because of one season where he's been missing most of his team. I'm just not that type of fan. I think any Man United fan who's going to turn against the manager when you're missing probably 5 or 10 of your first team players and is expecting us to be challenging for the title, when you're missing Casemiro, Martinez, we were missing Luke Shaw, I don't think we had a right back. There was a point where we were missing literally all of our best players and we were losing games. And it's like, what do you really expect? So for me, I'm firmly behind Erik ten Hag. I hope he gets the time to really, really build this Manchester United team. Do I think he should be here for the next 10, 20 years? I don't know. We haven't got that far yet, but for at least the next 18 months, that's how long his contract's left. I think he should stay at Man United. The thing we have to be considerate about, right, is Erik ten Hag's Manchester United contract expires in June 2025. So he has got, what are we in now, February. He's got, about 15 months left, roughly. My maths might be a little bit off there. March, April, May. About 16 months, 15, 16 months. That's how long he's got left on his contract. So the reason why there's so much talk about the manager is because Man United will have to make a decision in the summer. They can't really risk allowing Erik ten Hag's contract to run into its final year. I don't think so. Obviously, as I said, with the contract expiring in June 2025, it means that in June 2024, this year, there'll be 12 months left. So at that point, they have to really, really decide whether they stick with Erik ten Hag or they get a new manager with a new project and they go from there. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Comeback King says Erik ten Hag to stay. Oliver says keep Erik ten Hag. Alan says Erik ten Hag has earned the right to work under a good CEO and director of football. Look what he's had to put up with. I agree with you, mate. Irvin says no respect to De Zerbi, but he is not a top club manager. Ten Hag or better if we were to change. Fair enough. Everything Carpy says I'd go for De Zerbi any day, but I do like Ten Hag. Okay, that's fine. Obviously, you're entitled to your opinion. For me, it's Erik ten Hag all the way. And so far on the poll, 88% of you want Ten Hag as the manager next season. 8% of you want Zerbi, and 4% of you want somebody else. So obviously, I don't know who that is, but whoever else you have in mind. Obviously, make sure you let me know in the comment section, guys. Who do you think will be the next Manchester United manager? I mean, ultimately, it's not up to us, is it? It's up to INEOS, and INEOS are changing everything. Sporting director, CEO, head of recruitment. They're making so many big changes that there is the potential that they'll change the manager. Erik ten Hag is ultimately on trial until the end of the season. He really, really is. Like, it pains me to say that after how well he did last season, but it's not really the same ballpark anymore. There's new people running the sporting side. I don't know. I hope that he's got some brownie points from last season, and I hope that they respect that he's brought Kobe Mainoo into this team. He's made Garnacho a starting player. Like, he has done a lot, even if you just look at the kind of the smaller success stories, like bringing the youth through, obviously getting us third place, FA Cup final, League Cup win. Like, he's done well, in my opinion. But yeah, let me know what you think about that. We'll move on from that section of the show. Let me know in the comment section, who would you prefer as the manager, Erik ten Hag or Roberto De Zerbi? Moving on to some more news in the back room behind Manchester United. Apparently, Man United are on the brink of appointing Jason Wilcox, who is going to be head of youth academy. Apparently, he has a really good relationship with Omar Barada. He was at Man City, I think, for about 10 years, this Jason Wilcox guy. He left Man City recently, and I think he's been at Southampton in, obviously, the Championship. But if you look at some of the players that this Jason Wilcox guy has developed, people like Phil Foden, Rico Lewis, that Oscar Bob guy, obviously Cole Palmer, like, he's developed some really, really good people through under his kind of reign. He was the director of all of Manchester City's youth academies. And Man City, have been really, really good at bringing through youth and selling youth. Whereas Man United, obviously we've got Kobe Mainoo, we've got Garnacho, Rashford, Greenwood. But other than that, like, over the last 10 years, there's not really been that many that have come through. Obviously, there's McTominay as well, which I think most of you probably don't want at the club. But I think, to be bringing in this guy is a really, really big boost for Manchester United. And obviously, the fact that he was at Man City before, and the fact that he apparently has a really, really good relationship with Omar Barada, who's now our CEO, I couldn't be happier about this. I think it's really, really impressive. And, every day I go on Twitter, and the more stuff I see Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS doing, it just makes me more impressed. Now, effectively, we could get Dan Ashworth, Omar Barada, this Jason Wilcox guy. Like, we might build the dream team and it might not work. There's no guarantees in football. I'm not sat here thinking, just because INEOS have made some good appointments, we're going to win the league next season. Far from it. I really, really have no expectations. I'm just happy that they're being proactive. And the one thing that I'm really, really excited about and I'm really hopeful for is that when the transfer window opens, we just start doing deals. I know it's a long way away, but what I mean by this is, right, I'm sick of those transfer windows where, week one of the transfer window, we're linked to Amrabat, and then we sign him 4 months, not 4 months, what is it? Does it open in June and close in September? You know what I mean here, though, right? We were linked to Amrabat all transfer window. We were linked to Rasmus Højlund for about 4 months. We were linked to Anthony for about 4 months. They wanted 30 million and then we paid 100 million 4 months later. Like, I just really, really hope that Man United are really active in the window and that they know what players they want. They go out and get them. If they're asking for too much money, they walk away and that's it. Because, like, that's just what a competent football club should be doing. Erik ten Hag should be going on, or whoever the manager, should be going on their pre-season tour with all of the players that they need. That's the bare minimum for me. And I know people will say, it's funny how the mighty have fallen, that I'm sat here saying I'd be happy if we did our business early in the window, but it's been so bad for so many years and we've made so many bad decisions and so many panic decisions, like signing Casemiro. I think he's a great player. He's world class and I love Casemiro, but signing Casemiro and Anthony off the back of losing our first 2 games of the season last year, no one can tell me that was planned. There's no way on earth the Glazers said, right, let's play our first 2 Premier League matches and then we'll sign Casemiro and Anthony. Like, why would they do that? They would have signed them before. They weren't planning on signing them, either of them, I don't think. They didn't want to pay the money. We lost to Brighton, and then we got battered by Brentford. I think it was 4-0 away from home. And then they go and spend loads of money. And that can't happen anymore. It can't. We need to be way more competent. If we want Michael Olise, go and buy him in the first week of the window. If you want to get Jean-Claire Todibo, you go and buy him in the first week of the window. And the same with outgoings. I don't want to be talking about Harry Maguire leaving the club for 4 months. If Harry Maguire is not wanted at Man United, he needs to be told and they need to move him out. And I am hopeful that with this new team, we will be able to do that. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Everyone who's just joined, by the way, please smash a like on the video. We've got over 150 people watching already. If everyone likes the video, it will really, really help to bring more people in. So please do go and do that. Irvin says, it's slowly but steadily, it looks like we're becoming a football club with these changes. Come on, United. I agree, mate. Daniel says, Sir Jim, I've got to say well done, but 2 to 3 years down the line, we need something giving Sir Jim chance, see what happens. Yeah, we've got to give him a chance, mate. We do. Fred says, where's Fred gone? There he is. He says, it takes 13 hours to build a Ford and 6 months to build a Rolls Royce. There you go. I like that. It's a good analogy. Tawanda says, hopefully this new team will be good for scouting players, which will really suit Erik ten Hag. Of course. Yes, I agree with you, mate. And Lumen says, I will back and go with Sir Jim Ratcliffe's every decision from now onwards, as my heart says at his age, he would want more blessings of people than money. Yeah, well, look, the thing is, right, the narrative from Jim Ratcliffe from day one has been that he's doing this as a passion project. And I'll be honest, right, in the summer I laughed at that. I thought, we don't want a passion project. We want somebody who's actually going to pump loads of money in and all the rest of it. But I think what he actually meant by a passion project was that he's not looking for an immediate financial gain, or he's not looking for a return, because he knows that what he's doing here is probably a pretty bad business investment, you know? Going into a club that's at rock bottom, needs a new stadium, needs pretty much a whole new squad, has all of these players on crazy money. Like, he could make money way more easier than investing this money in Man United. You know, if he just wanted a quick return on money, investing in any football club is a bad idea, let alone Manchester United. Like, that's a fact. Football club owners are known to, you know, throw money into clubs and not actually see much return in the hope that 10, 20 years later, the club becomes massive and they can make loads of money and sell it then. But a lot of the time that doesn't work, you know. Irvin says, Kieran, do you have any news on Rashford leaving? Thanks for bringing that up. I think that's a really, really interesting point. So I know we are a specific Manchester United channel here, but this is obviously a massive talking point. So let's bring this into it. It has been confirmed 100% by reliable sources, Fabrizio Romano, all of the top people, that Kylian Mbappe will leave PSG this summer. It's done. Mbappe is leaving PSG. Where he's going to go, I mean, it's probably going to be Real Madrid, isn't it? But the reason I bring this up, does this now mean that PSG come in for Marcus Rashford? I'll be honest with you, I think it does. I think that PSG will go for Marcus Rashford. You know? They want to compete with the likes of Real Madrid and all the rest of it. Real Madrid have just signed, obviously, Jude Bellingham, another Englishman. And we've seen the incredible stuff that Jude Bellingham's done at Real Madrid. Now, obviously, Jude Bellingham and Marcus Rashford are two very different players. But the point I'm trying to make here is Marcus Rashford is a massive brand. Him going to PSG is a statement. It's a statement for PSG. It really, really is. That they've, you know, taken a player from the Premier League, from one of the top clubs in the Premier League. And I mean, this is obviously just my opinion at this stage, but I genuinely think that that PSG will come in for Marcus Rashford. They'll need a new left winger. Mbappe will go. They need to, you know, convince the fans at PSG that, you know, they know what they're doing. Marcus Rashford's the correct age profile. I think he's 25 still, same age as Mbappe. Will Marcus Rashford leave? Let's do a poll. Why not? Whilst I set up the poll, everybody, please smash a like on the video quickly. It doesn't cost you any money. Completely free. Give it a like and subscribe if you're new. We're only 5 subscribers away from 21,300, so go and subscribe. Let's do this. Do you think Rashford... Let's say, do you think PSG will come back in for Rashford this summer? Fabrizio confirmed. All right. Anybody who's watching the video back on repeat, obviously you can get involved in the comment section. The question is this: do you think PSG will come back in for Rashford this summer? The reason we're talking about this is because it has been confirmed today that Mbappe will 100% leave PSG this summer. Obviously, to give a bit of context, we know that PSG tried to sign Rashford. Was it last summer or the season before? But I mean, I'm just looking here. Sky Sports a week ago, PSG will make another attempt to sign Marcus Rashford striker? Sky Sports 1 week ago reporting that PSG will make another attempt to sign Manchester United striker Marcus Rashford this summer. Obviously, that was before this Mbappe story broke as well. But yeah, I mean, it's a really, really interesting talking point. Really interesting talking point. Is there a world where Mbappe comes to Man United? No, I don't think so. I think that's literally never going to happen personally. I think the amount of money that it would require to do that deal, it just wouldn't make any sense for anybody. I think he's paid about 2 million euros a week at PSG. Like, that's absolutely mental. I know he'd probably make more than that for us per week in shirt sales and brand deals and stuff, but yeah, I don't think they'd go for it. So I'm just rewinding the clock a bit here, right? Just so we can go back. So it was, I think, January 2023, and the story was that apparently Rashford rejected a 400 grand a week contract offer from PSG. Yeah, so it's very, very interesting. Obviously, this was all last year that this happened. But there's lots of journalists in the last week or so saying that PSG will come back in for Marcus Rashford. Now, the question I want to ask you lot is, would you sell Marcus Rashford? Say PSG come in with an offer of 80 to 100 million. Would you sell Marcus Rashford? Let me know in the comments section. Would I sell Marcus Rashford? It's difficult. It's a really difficult question, to be honest. If, we were getting someone better, then of course I would, because otherwise it's a no-brainer. If we could get somebody who was going to perform better for half the price, then I think it's an absolute no-brainer for me personally. I think Rashford, had a great season last year. I think he's been one of our best players over the last kind of 2 or 3 years, except for this season where he's been poor. And in short, yes, I think I would sell him. I would. I think maybe it would be better for him as well. I think, I don't know. I just think it might be better for everybody. I don't really need to go into it any more than that, do I? But obviously, you guys can let me know in the comment section. Would you sell Marcus Rashford in the summer? George in the chat says, if Rashford gets sold, do you think we could sign someone like Kvara from Napoli? Napoli aren't playing that good and he could be cheaper. I mean, it's a possibility. I don't know how long his contract is at Napoli. Let me have a quick look for you, mate. Let's have a look. I mean, the thing is, right, the thing that we have to acknowledge here, people saying, oh, well, if we sold Rashford, who would replace him? I mean, Garnacho is naturally a left winger, so that's always a possibility that Garnacho moves back over to the left. Obviously, we're linked to Michael Elise heavily, who's a right winger, so that solves the right wing issue. You've still then got Anthony. You've still then got Jadon Sancho that you need to do something with. You've got Ahmad. You've got Pellistri. Now, I'm not saying that that's enough, but, if you let Rashford go, moved Garnacho back over to his natural side, which is the left-hand side, and then you had Michael Elise come in as a new signing as the new right winger, I can't really argue with that, because Elise, I think his release clause is about 60 million euros, which is about 55 million pounds, If we could get upwards of 100 million for Rashford, if someone said to me, right, you can sell Rashford for 100 million, Garnacho would take his place, I'd say no problem. I think Garnacho's ready. He starts every game for us anyway. And then someone says, with that 100 million, we'll go and buy Michael Elise for 55. That will leave us 45 million to go and buy Jean-Claire Todibo. I would be like, I can't really argue with that, because the thing you have to remember is that hypothetical 100 million for Rashford would be 100% profit, because he's come through the youth academy. So financial fair play wise, we could go and spend that money without any issues whatsoever. So I think from a financial point, it makes a lot of sense. Now, do I think that Manchester United will sell Marcus Rashford? I don't think that they'd push him out of the club, personally. I think that he would only be sold if he actively wanted to leave. If he said, you know what, guys, I'm Manchester United through and through. I love the club, but I want to try something different. then I think they would let him go. But I don't think that, Jim Ratcliffe and Erik ten Hag would push Rashford out of the door personally. But we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, George says, what about Ahmad and Pellistri? Yeah, mate, the thing is with Ahmad and Pellistri, right? This is just my opinion, but I think Pellistri will be sold in the summer. And I think Ahmad will just be a squad player. I don't think either of them are good enough to start every week. I don't. Look, just think of it like this, right? Garnacho has just turned 19. Just let that sink in for a minute. Garnacho is only 19. Okay? Pellistri. Pellistri's been at the club for about 5 or 6 years. He's 23 this year. He's 4 years older than Garnacho. And he's barely played any football under any of the managers that have been here. Amad Diallo's a little bit younger. He's only 21. So I think that's why I'm kind of saying this. I think by the time the summer comes around, Pellistri will be 23. That's not a young player anymore. It isn't. When you look around world football, like Marcus Rashford's 25 and he's been playing for Man United for 7 years in the team. Like, I think Pellistri will go. I think Ahmad is definitely good to keep as a squad player, but I don't think he's good enough to be a starting player for me personally. But that's obviously up for interpretation. Let's see what else people are saying in the chat. I'll stay live for a little bit longer tonight, guys, just to go through some of your questions. So if you have any questions or any topics you want me to talk about, get in the comment section. And please do me a favour and give the like a video. We've nearly got 200 people watching this evening, which is really, really good. So big ups to every single one of you. Get some questions in the live chat and I'll read them out. So if anybody has anything they want to talk about, get in there. And I will do that. I'm just having a quick look on Twitter. There's people joking saying that if Mbappe leaves PSG, we should try and sell Antony to them. I mean, you never know with people like PSG, innit? Like Antony would probably go to the French league and look like an £100 million player. I genuinely think that. I think he would do well in the French league. But he just hasn't worked for him at Man United, has it? Unfortunately, Antony. My personal stance on Antony, if anybody is interested, is I would loan him out next season. Take the pressure off him. Maybe loan him out to another team in the Premier League. Like towards the bottom, maybe like a Bournemouth, a Luton, somebody like that, an Everton. Loan him out to there, someone where he's going to get played every single game, and hope that he does well. That would be my best decision for Antony, because selling him isn't an option unless we're going to recoup all of the money we've invested in him. Because if we were to sell him now, it would completely ruin our financial fair play books, because, he's a €95 million asset on our books. If we were to sell him for €40 million in the summer, that would mean we'd lost €55 million on him. And that's why we can't sell players like that. It just can't happen. It's a similar situation with Jadon Sancho, but at least with Sancho, we've had him for a little bit longer. So we have actually paid off more of his transfer fee. Whereas with Antony, it's so new, it's so fresh that, Irvin says, Kieran, do you agree with me if United were to replace Antony, Rashford, Bruno to players who are more creative to create and to take on players and a good bench, we could be title contenders soon? I don't think so, mate. I think we're a long way off being title contenders, personally. I think we're probably at least 5 first-team players off being title contenders. Genuinely. And I'll be honest with you, mate. I think Antony going, okay. I think Rashford going, yeah, maybe. I get it with Bruno as well. I like Bruno, but I don't think he complements the style of player Erik ten Hag's trying to do. But yeah, it's food for thought. Lumen says, Kieran, what if Jim Ratcliffe sacks Erik ten Hag and goes with another manager? How will you react? The thing is, right, mate, let me just say this. If Man United get top 4, I don't think Erik ten Hag will be sacked. I honestly think it would be an absolute disgrace if Erik ten Hag gets sacked if we got top 4. I would be absolutely fuming. Because for us to get top 4, we're going to have to continually win for the rest of the season. It's not like we're sat in 4th place and everyone's like, it's been a bit of a rubbish season. We've been sat in 4th all season. We've blah, blah, blah. Like, we were literally in 10th place a week ago. And we're now 6th. We've won 3 games in the Premier League in a row. So for me personally, I would be absolutely shocked if Erik ten Hag got sacked if we managed to achieve top 4. And, that's going to be difficult. We're 6 points behind Tottenham, who are doing well. We would probably have to win I think we'd need at least 70 points to get top 4, which means we probably have to win about 10 of our last 14 games. Just let that sink in for a minute. For us to get top 4, we're currently on 41 points. If we were to win 10 more games, we'd be on 71 points. Last season, 4th place was 71 points. There you go. So based off last season, Man United would probably need to get about 70 points in order for us to get top 4 this season, which, as I just said, would mean us winning 10 of the last 14 games. And I think it would be an absolute disgrace for them to turn around and say, Eric, you've just won 10 of the last 14 games. You've got us top 4. You've dealt with Jadon Sancho this season. You've dealt with a takeover. You've dealt with 10 plus first team injuries at one point, and you still managed to get top 4. You're fired. Like, I just don't think that would be very fair. If we were to finish 8th or 9th, I probably would say that Erik ten Hag will be gone in the summer, personally. If we don't get any European football, I personally don't see why INEOS would feel any reason to keep him, if that makes sense. Because if they don't want Erik ten Hag, they want somebody else, and we don't get European football, they can just announce that he had 1 year left of his contract. We didn't achieve the things we wanted to achieve this season, and we're trying something different. And I don't think any of the fan base could really argue with that, to be honest. Like, if we finish 9th and they remove Erik ten Hag, is anybody going to be crying about it? Like, I probably wouldn't. I would be a little bit worried. I'd be like, is this the right decision? But it'd be difficult to argue with it. But as it stands at the moment, we're in 6th place. We are in the battle for top 4. We're still in the FA Cup. There is still something to play for this season. I'm still feeling positive. I've liked what I've seen from Man United the last kind of 2 or 3 games, so I'm feeling a bit more happy. Stretford Gamer says, Kieran, do you think Madrid will come in for Rashford? I doubt it, mate. I highly doubt it. Fred says, I'm putting it out there. We will get top 4. Keep the faith. Yeah, mate, I think we will as well. I think we would do it. Irvin says, I think 10 wins out of 14 games is doable. Yeah, I think it's doable as well. And that's what I mean. Like, if we manage to achieve that, Erik ten Hag's job's safe, I think. I would be shocked if it's not. Let's just have a quick look at the fixtures then. Let's do this quickly before I end the video, okay? Let's see where we can get these 10 wins. Okay, so we've got Luton on the weekend. That's 1 win. We have to win. But then we've got Fulham at home. We have to win that. Man City away from home. I mean, I don't think we're going to win that. So let's leave that one. Then we've got Everton at home. You've got to win that. Sheffield United at home. You've got to win that. Brentford away. You've got to win that. Chelsea away. I would say probably a draw. Then you've got Liverpool at home. Maybe a draw. Then you've got Bournemouth away. You've got to win that. You've got Newcastle at home. You've got to win that. Burnley at home, you've got to win that. Crystal Palace away, you've got to win that. And then there's Arsenal and Brighton, the last 2 games. I mean, it'll be tight, but I think it is doable. But let me know. How many more wins do you think we'll get? Let me know in the comment section. But yeah, I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. I've gone on for a little bit longer than I would usually. I hope everyone has enjoyed this evening's show. Please don't forget to like the video before you leave. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. This has been Daily Red Devil. Have a great evening, everybody, and I'll speak to you all at 11 a.m. tomorrow.